Hi, I'm Jenna Mejia, and I would like to welcome you to Session 1, Making the Connection in our new series, Positive Solutions for Families. I am the LEAP teacher in Ontario, and I am hosting these sessions with my coworker, Jackie Garcia, who teaches in the NISA and Vail classrooms. We presented this in person almost 2 weeks ago, and unfortunately we recorded it, but we had technology trouble, so I wasn't able to upload it. So I wanted you to still be able to have access to our first session so that you can hopefully join us in future sessions. What we are here for is to learn how to feel competent and confident about the things that we're doing as parents, to build relationships, to teach our kids how to help follow directions and learn to manage their emotions, to let us know what their behavior is trying to communicate, to learn new skills to replace challenging behaviors, and also to help our kids feel safe, loved, and special. So for Session 1, we're going to work on making the connection, and then in our next sessions, we'll talk about keeping it positive, that all behavior has meaning, the power of routines, teach me what to do, and responding with purpose, and also bringing it all together with a plan. So what's happening today? First, we're going to start with introductions. We're going to talk about the purpose of the group, our group ground rules, connecting with our children, and encouragement on how to make these connections happen with your own kiddos at home. So what we did at our first meeting is we went around the room and we shared our name, the name and ages of our children, the first positive thing that comes to mind about your children and what brought you to this group. So I can start first. I'm Jenna Mejia. My kiddos are Aisley, who's 11 in 5th grade, Hattie, who is 6 in 1st grade, and Holden, who is 4 and he is in preschool. And the first positive thing that came to my mind about my kiddos is just their overall joy for big things, for little things, for the small little trivial things, and how fun it is to watch that through their lenses. What brought me to this group is obviously that I am teaching it, but also as a parent, I can always improve my skills and improve my relationships with my kids. So I hope that you'll just kind of pause for a moment and think about what these things are for you. Before we get started, we are going to talk about what it's like to live with young kiddos, right? So it brings an extreme mixture of feelings from joy and laughter to exhaustion and frustration. We experience the whole range of emotion through our kiddos' behaviors. This can include hugs and kisses, but also screaming, hitting, and refusing to stay in bed. This takes a toll on any parent's emotional, mental, and physical well-being. It's not always easy being a parent, right? I think we all thought it would be, and it's definitely not. And one thing that we talked about in our group setting last week or 2 weeks ago was that we're all in the same boat. Sometimes we feel so alone as a parent, and the others can make it look so easy, but every single person expressed that it was challenging and that it was hard. So you are not alone in that. Although we know that most young children display challenging behaviors at some point in their development, it does not ease your concerns or anxiety when your child is engaging in those. Unfortunately, I cannot offer you an easy cure, a magic potion, or a magic wand. But in this group, we will teach you evidence-based strategies that are successfully used by families of young children. So during our meeting, we went through and established some ground rules for our meeting. And those included making sure that we tried to start on time, that our cell phones were off, that everyone had the opportunity to share, that you would ask questions if you felt comfortable asking them, that what is shared in the group stays in the group, and that we are respectful of each other's families and situations. So you're watching this virtually, but those rules still apply to you, and you are welcome to text Jackie or text myself if you have any questions on what we go over today. The first thing that we started by doing is we want you guys to think about someone who was very important to you when you were growing up. What did this person do that made you feel important and special? And how did this person make you feel? So I hope that you will just pause for a second and you can either write this down or do this mentally, but just think about what this person did for you. So we went through in our group and we shared, everybody had the chance if they felt comfortable sharing the person that they thought of and how they made them feel. So I talked about my 2nd grade teacher who was just absolutely amazing, and her classroom was a safe space for everybody. She made every single student in that classroom feel special and important, and how I thought that was really valuable for me. Some of the other words that people shared were they made them feel loved, protected, that they were available to them at any time. They were someone that you could talk to, and they were a good listener. Do some of those sound like the things that you guys thought of during your own reflection? So this is a great quote from a TED Talk by Rita F. Pearson. It is on YouTube if you want to look it up. But every child deserves a champion, an adult who will never give up on them, who understands the power of connection and insists that they can become the best they can possibly be. This is such an important quote for us to remember. It is important for every child to have someone who will be their champion. We want to be the person in our child's life who makes them feel loved and makes them feel special. The person they can always count on, just like that person that we talked about in the last couple slides. Your relationship or connection with your own child is crucial. When children have challenging behavior, it can be hard to make that connection. You may not be able to keep your children away from every stressful situation in their lives or control all of their circumstances. But by developing strong relationships, you can give them the tools they need to thrive and to be resilient. When you focus on strengthening your connection with your child, it makes it easier to teach them new skills and behaviors. So I want you guys to think about what are some new social and emotional behaviors that you want your children to learn. Some of the things that we talked about during our group were their ability to make friends with peers, get along with the kids in their class, persist at tasks, follow directions, right? That is an important one for all parents. The ability to identify, understand, and communicate their own feelings and emotion, and their ability to communicate and cope with their frustration. One of the ways that we can help our children build these skills is to strengthen our relationship with them. We start by thinking about the idea of spending a little extra quality time or connecting with our kiddos, because this is so crucial to that relationship. A great way to connect with your child is to spend time interacting with them. This may mean different things for different families. It might mean going grocery shopping together, playing a favorite game, singing in the radio or to the radio in the car, or going for a walk together. Children love to spend time with the adults in their lives. So let's look at the benefits of connecting with your children. Why do you think this is important, and how would your child benefit? And then we also thought about what are some barriers? What makes it hard to connect with your children? So what are some obstacles and challenges to that? So take a moment and think about that for just a second. Some of the ones that we came up with in our group were the barriers could be ages, right? So we had a mom in our group who has a child who's about to turn 21 and also has a 4-year-old. We had some who had 3 kids, 5 and under, so very busy. Sometimes parents are tired, right? Or our work schedule just doesn't allow for a lot of one-on-one time. And then we also have sibling rivalry. Some of the benefits to connecting with your children that we talked about were their communication skills increasing, especially around their emotions, their independence and security, having shared activities that you share with your child that are special for you, and also an improved attitude and self-esteem for your kiddo. If you look at our list, I think we can agree that the benefits are going to outweigh the barriers, right? It is so important for us to connect with our kids. The reality is, though, we're very busy. Some of us are juggling multiple jobs, responsibilities at home, providing care to our children, and perhaps extended family and parents. I want to challenge you to rethink the notion of quality time. Why does spending time with your child have to be about finding this perfect allotted time or pre-planned scheduled activity? Instead, think about how every moment you spend with your child can be special. When we're busy, it can help to think about finding moments in between. During your drive to childcare, could you sing a silly song? If you're stuck in the line at the grocery store, could you play I Spy? Basically, we need to capture the time we have with our kids and make it fun and full of interactions. Building connections is about positive time and attention. If you feel that you have barriers that get in the way with you connecting with your child, think about this. You can do small things often. Maybe you don't have a full 30 minutes to play a lengthy board game, but do you have 5 minutes to read a book or turn on a song and have a dance party? It's important to remember that building connections is mainly about positive time and attention, and not necessarily giving your child things. Think of activities that you do every single day. How can you make them more playful and interactive? It will be helpful for us to first think about the times of day you do spend with your children. Think about everyday things you do: hair brushing, food shopping, walking to school. So think about some of those times. Let's use an example of walking to school. If you walk to school every morning, how could you make that day fun and interactive? Could you sing a song while you walk? Could you play a guessing game like I Spy? Or could you find certain things along the way that are all one color? So maybe what can we find on our walk to school that is blue? Now that you've thought of times of the day that you spend with your child, let's share some ideas with each other. What are some fun activities that you can do with your child in those small moments of time? So during our group, everyone wrote down a few things that they felt like they could do, and those included examples like reading a book together, going for a walk after dinner, singing their favorite songs in the car, asking your child about their day and just talking about things that they did, making sure that you're giving hugs, high fives, and attention, letting your child be a special helper. One of the dads in our groups talked about how his kiddo loves to be a helper, so he will take them outside with him and have them do yard jobs. And even though they're working, for that kiddo, that is quality time. Plus they see themselves being more independent and like they're one of the grown-ups, builds that self-esteem and confidence. So I would like for you to apply it and try it. Name 5 things that you could do in the next week to increase connections with your kiddo. Try and think of things you can do that include playful interactions and make your child feel special. So feel free to pause it and think of 5 things. So I'd like to share a powerful practice with you that you can use to help strengthen your relationship with your kiddo. It is positive comments and encouragement. In the research on behavior, the use of encouragement or positive reinforcement has been proven to be the most powerful way to change human behavior. This can help your child understand the types of behaviors you want them to see doing, and they're more likely to continue to engage in those behaviors, especially if they're getting attention for it. A lack of encouragement can lead to increased amounts of unwanted behavior because they don't understand the expectations that you have set for them. So when you encourage your child, we want to make sure that it is more than just saying, oh, yeah, I like that, or good job, right? The old standby. Tell your child specifically what you like about what they're doing. This is actually in my classroom, the friendship lesson that we're working on is giving a compliment. So our friends look at each other, tap them on the shoulder, say their name, and then give them a compliment. And we want it to be very specific. Tell them what they're doing that you like. So some steps for encouraging your child are, number 1, to get your child's attention, just like we teach our kids in class. Number 2, be specific. Say what you see. Number 3, keep it simple. Avoid combining positive feedback and criticism. Number 4, be sincere and genuine. And number 5, double the impact with physical warmth. Number 6, use positive comments and encouragement with your child in front of others. So I'm going to give you guys some scenarios and we're going to reflect back on them and talk about what they could have done differently. So in example number 1, mom is doing the dishes and her child is putting the toys away. Mom does not look up at the child and says, I like how you're cleaning up your toys. The child doesn't seem to hear her. So in this example, how does the mom encourage her child? Well, she says, I like that you're cleaning up your toys. That was very specific. So that part was good. But the child doesn't seem to notice. She didn't take the time to get their attention, and she didn't even look up from what she was doing. We want to make sure that they can hear us and that they're focused on what we're saying. In example number 2, a grandparent is watching TV and the grandchildren are playing together nicely. Grandparent looks up and says, good job. The children just look at her confused and keep playing. So she takes the time to stop watching her show and get their attention, but she just tells them good job. Do you think that the kids know what they're doing a good job at? Not exactly. She could be more specific in her praise, like you're doing really well playing with your sister, or you guys are playing together so nicely. For example number 4, mom and child are playing together with blocks. You are so good at building fences for the cows and horses. The child smiles and hands her mom a horse. Wow, thank you for sharing your horse with me. I like playing with you. The child smiles and makes an animal noise. Thank you for using your quiet voice while your sister takes a nap, and she hugs her child. So this mom really did a great job. She got their attention. She was specific. She kept it simple, and she was sincere and genuine. She also let her know that she liked how she was being quiet during the sister's nap. This is so important. That child knew exactly what to do, and she'll do it again next time. I want to reflect back on number 3, keep it simple. Avoid combining positive feedback with criticism. This is one that I have heard myself do with my own kiddos at home, and I think we've all been guilty of. So it's like, oh, good job cleaning your room. You usually don't do that. Or saying in front of one child to another, like, thanks for picking up your toys. Your sister never does, right? So it's paired kind of with that jab, and that is not going to be effective for kiddos. So we want to make sure that we are not combining positive feedback with criticism. Another really important thing to do is to make sure that you're praising your kids in front of other people, right? Tell your spouse, tell a sibling, let the neighbor hear you telling them, let the grocery store clerk hear you telling your kiddo what they're doing well, and it'll be even more powerful than it could be before. So we're going to try to find 5 times in the next week where you could give your child positive comments and encourage it. And while you're doing it, I want you to write down what you said and did and think about, how did your child respond? How did your child feel? How did you feel afterwards? It makes us feel just as good to say positive things about our kiddos as it does to hear them, our kids to hear them. At the meeting, I shared that, I'll get home and my husband will say, how was your day at work? And honestly, every day I'm like, it was really good. And that's because in our classroom, we focus so much on the positive that I honestly can't even remember some of the tougher things that happen throughout the day because I'm so focused on giving compliments to the kids that it just really fills me up and makes me feel like I had the best day ever. So that was really the end of our first session. It wasn't too painful. I encourage you to come this week for our next session, and I think it'll be valuable. I think it'll be fun to make connections with those other, sorry, I'm stumbling on my words, to make connections with other parents who are in the thick of it just like you are. But I do encourage you to try to find a few places to make that connection with your kiddo this week in a place where you normally wouldn't, and then also to try to give them some positive comments and encouragement. Thank you for watching this video. If you have any questions or you need any support with this, please reach out to Jackie or I. We are happy to help you. Thank you.